The question we're going to answer today: if you own a Surface Laptop, is the Surface Laptop 2 worth the upgrade? Microsoft recently launched the Surface Laptop 2, and we've just finished our review. It's the successor to the Surface Laptop 1, which was introduced a year ago. Now, if you're looking at both of these, you'd be hard-pressed to tell the difference because they're almost exactly the same machine. Let's go through the specs. So this is the same machine as far as dimensions are concerned. The weight's exactly the same, 2.80 pounds. The screen's the same, 2256 by 1580, stretching across 13.5 inches. And the battery life is the same as well. What's different is two things. One, there's the very nice black color, which I think is actually aesthetically quite pleasing. We were talking about this before. The burgundy is nice as well, but the black adds that added sort of bit of style to it all. And then there's an 8th generation core processor. Inside this, there is the Core i5-8250U, which is a Kaby Lake R product. Now, if we look at the ports, they are essentially the same. And what we had previously on the Surface Laptop, or original Surface Laptop, is we had the original Surface connector, and then we had USB-A, a mini display port, and a headphone jack. That's fine for right now. In fact, many peripherals right now, including older hard drives, are still on USB Type A. But the Surface Laptop and the Surface Laptop 2 are designed for students. And you can imagine that a student's going to be using this over the course of 2 or 3 or even 4 years. So one of the ports they've left out becomes a little bit more crucial, and that's USB-C. You'll find that on many other devices at this point in time. Yes, USB-C does require a dongle to go ahead and connect to older devices, but it's a forward-looking port, and you can imagine that over time there are going to be more and more peripherals being manufactured this standard. The other thing that you lose with the Surface Laptop, both the first generation and the second generation, is a micro SD slot. That is restricted to the Surface Pro tablet line. And again, if your pictures are going straight from your phone to the cloud, you might not miss it. But if you have an SLR or something of that sort, and you want to go ahead and transfer photos manually, you might want to have to find a dongle or opt for another machine. Let's address the performance issue. Now, if we look at the first generation and the second generation, on certain tests, they are almost identical. On certain tests, there's a great gap between the two of them. Microsoft recently introduced the October 2018 update, and we run tests 3 times. On the first 2 tests, we happen to get the older update, the April update. On the third test, Microsoft actually forced the update to the October 2018 update. This is only significant because scores dropped on this by about 7% on the older PC Mark tests. Those measure home and office and a work environment. And if you're looking strictly at the results of those tests, this is actually this faster machine, slightly. Again, probably indicative of some concerns with PC Mark, but also some indications that the two machines are fairly close together. However, if we look at the more in-depth and synthesized benchmarks, we see a greater disparity. Cinebench, for example, 71% difference between this and this. That shows that when you're talking about computationally intensive tasks, this is really the machine to choose from. Handbrake, which is a video transcoding test. We use that to transcode a Hollywood-length movie into a format that can be used in an Android tablet, and this was actually 39% faster. If you look at 3D graphics, again, 7th generation to 8th generation, we're seeing a 21% difference. Can you play games in this? The answer is yes, depending upon what you're playing. You don't want to go ahead and try to force something like Call of Duty, but if you're talking about League of Legends or something of that sort, this will run just fine. Now, the other thing that really differentiates the Surface Laptop line, and the reason that we really love the first generation machine, was battery life. And for that machine, you got over 10 hours. The other difference we haven't between the first and second generation machines that we haven't talked about is the fact that the first generation machine used Windows 10S or Windows 10 and S mode. This goes strictly to Windows 10 Home, or if you opt for a business environment, it's Windows 10 Pro. Windows 10S actually added about an hour to battery life on this and really helped it. But if you compare the two using Windows 10 Home, again, actually what you saw, and somewhat surprisingly, is that this actually outclassed this in terms of battery life. There's a reason for that. The battery sizes are essentially the same, 42 watt hours. However, we kind of got a bit of a cherry-picked machine here in that the actual battery size was about 44, almost 45 watt hours, where this was actually 42. So in terms of battery life, again, about 10 hours. This happened to be a little bit more. Expect about 10 hours of total battery life for either machine. What it boils down to is this. Again, should you, if you have a Surface Laptop, opt for the Surface Laptop 2? I would say no. If you already own a Surface Laptop, the performance is probably close enough for the task that you're doing that you don't need to pay extra for this machine. We should also mention that the price as well. This happens to be a machine that costs $999 for the minimum price. What this machine was actually tested at was $1299. Microsoft charges about $200 for the black version. Part of that is taken up by the fact that the minimum amount of capacity, amount of storage for this is 128 gigabytes. This particular black version is only offered in 256 gigabytes, so you're getting a little bit more for your money. Again though, you're paying a little bit just for the premium of having an aesthetically pleasing machine. So again, the question is, should you opt for the Surface Laptop versus the Surface Laptop 2? I would argue no if you already own a Surface Laptop. I thought the original Surface Laptop was an excellent machine. The problem is Microsoft has opted to simply tweak the Surface Laptop and create the Surface Laptop 2. Its competitors have not. They've aggressively forged ahead. And in fact, I would actually recommend a couple of machines over the Surface Laptop 2. There's the HP Spectre X360 13T, and then there's the most recent Dell XPS, which is the 9370, which was released in late 2017. The late 2017 Dell XPS really embraces USB-C. Again, you'll have to have a dongle to go ahead and connect to older devices. The HP Spectre is a little bit less performant, has a little bit less horsepower under the hood. However, again, we're in the same ballpark. The battery life is excellent for both machines, and the prices are great as well. HP, especially during the holidays, was really taking their price of their 360 down by quite a bit. So, what do I think of the Surface Laptop 2? It's a great machine. It's a good machine. It's a solid machine. But if you're looking for the best machine, you have to look elsewhere.